Hi everyone, it's Phil here from Ashland Leather, and today I've got some really special custom made to order wallets. Everything that we're about to look at has been custom ordered by our really creative customers. We've got a lot of special different leathers and materials to look at and talk about today. We're going to start off first here with this really cool piece of deerskin from Horween. And this is a tannage that is known as Dublin that has been tumbled to become this other leather called Derby. It's very confusing, but essentially the Derby leather is a vegetable tanned leather that was tanned with the same tree barks as shell cordovan. They apply a hard wax to the surface and then tumble it in a wooden drum. So you get a little bit more of this broken up effect in the texture, and it really makes the grain more pronounced. And then you get that great depth of color with the darker spots being that hard wax layer. So we've got our Passport Field Notes holder here in the brown Derby deerskin. This one's a little bit extra thin because the deerskin is inherently thinner than most of the steer hides that we use. So it's a little bit softer and a little bit more thin than our normal passport holders. I love the natural look and tumble pattern on this Derby deerskin. And everything that we're about to look at, if you have placed a made to order item in the last 4 weeks or so, this might be your wallet here. Next one up here is a piece of whiskey shell cordovan on our Fat Herbie wallet. And you can see the dramatic color shift that happens in the whiskey shell. So some angles, it's a little bit more golden and yellow, much lighter in color at certain angles. And as you spin it around, that color becomes a little bit more brown. And that shift in color, I find to be really fascinating. Let's take a look at the inside, because on the inside left, I almost mistook this wallet for a Fat Herbie, but this is our new Traveler passport holder in that whiskey shell cordovan. I didn't notice it until I looked at the inside, where we have this passport compartment on the right. This is one big open slot that you can slide in your passport. And on the left, this is the custom modification that's happened here. We've got the hidden card slot on the left, and of course that great Horween shell cordovan ink stamp cut right into the center. Now this is our Fat Herbie. It's a little bit smaller actually. You'll notice the Traveler passport holder is slightly taller, and we elongated the height on the new passport holder to more easily accommodate a passport on the inside. So the traditional Herbie here in natural shell cordovan, also very nice. You've got that bill slot on the outside, which is what makes the Traveler passport holder extra special, is it will fit all paper currency in the world. So even the taller yen, some of the taller euros, those will all fit inside of this bill slot. And it's really, really easy to use. I love Fat Herbie. It's the wallet that I'm currently wearing. And on the inside of this Fat Herbie, we've got more natural shell cordovan. So normally we stock the natural shell cordovan Herbies. This one looks like it may have been custom ordered because there's no ink stamp on the center that may have been requested by the customer. I should mention, I haven't looked at any of these before I'm showing you on camera here. So it's a really fun way for me to experience this for the first time with you. This one here is the 1940s calfskin. This was leather tanned in 1941. That's just been sitting there at the tannery. And it's a really special leather that they're not able to reproduce. They actually tried for years and years to be able to make it again just so, and it was not working out. But they do have a small amount of this leather still sitting around. We've been making stuff from it for a few years, but it's really, really special, really great grain character that you would expect from a calfskin. Super, super fine grain. And because it's calfskin, it's also extra thin. Personally, I appreciate and I prefer a thinner wallet. I know a lot of people prefer a thicker wallet, but if you look at this guy here, very, very thin pieces of calfskin in that really beautiful blonde color. I love the 1940s calf, and soon, probably sooner than later, it will be not available anymore. This is also a variation on the Fat Herbie that we just looked at, and we call this the Tall Herbie. So the bill slot on the outside does not have that exterior thumb notch, and it extends all the way to the top of the wallet that you see here. That allows us on the inside to flip this centerpiece backwards. So we get this continuous piece of the same leather all throughout the inside as well as on the outside. We also have the gold foil baby Ashland stamp on the interior right. We've got another Tall Herbie here. This one is in black shell cordovan. We've got a contrasting cream color stitching on the outside. And there's something magical about seeing a really large piece of leather on these wallets, especially in shell cordovan. And I really like seeing the black shells. There's something really futuristic and sleek about how the light bounces off the black shell cordovan. I just love the look of this leather, and that contrasting cream stitch is really working well for me here. We also have a natural waxed and burnished edge on this wallet. Normally we try to hand stain the edges on something like this, but this also It does a really nice job of framing out the leather with that nice natural color on the outside. We do a little bit of waxing and burnishing to fill in all those fibers. Look on the inside here, we've got some denim blue shell cordovan card holders sitting on top of amaretto shell cordovan hidden card slots. Let me give you a look at these. This is a custom option that we're able to do. You've got 2 card slots on the top like the normal Herbie, but this underneath hidden card slot, that's a one big open compartment. You can put some extra cash, you can put some more cards, some documents underneath each of those sides. Now here's a really beautiful wallet. This is a total stunner. It looks to be amaretto shell cordovan on the outside of this Johnny the Fox. And this is my favorite shell cordovan color. It's really nice, vibrant, orangey tan shade. And of course we get that bright, shiny luster that we should expect from shell cordovan. It should be very much a mirror-like shine, super, super smooth, and it should never crease or delaminate, sort of develop those pebbles. That will never happen on these pieces of shell cordovan. On the exterior of this, you might see it's a little bit different than our normal Johnny the Foxes. We have a hand stitching in cream color on the outside edge of this wallet, and that will continue along the inside. And here's where I think it's really, really cool. We've got some reverse blue shell cordovan with epic splatter for all of the card holders. Let me give you a better look at this because I really like the look at this guy. And I mentioned that I wasn't looking at any of these beforehand. This was one that I accidentally saw on the inside. Really, really blew me away. I love the look of this hand-stitched Johnny the Fox. And hand stitching is a bit of an upcharge. We are able to do it for you, but that's always made to order. We were starting with some of the larger wallets, moving down in size. We've got a Tony the Ant here, and I really like the decision on this guy to have a different leather choice on the interior, which I'll get to in a second. On the exterior here, we have got a leather called Dublin from Horween, and this is the black color. For me, black Dublin from Horween is the most interesting black leather around, and that's because it has a lot of this natural character to it. Most black leathers that I come across, and perhaps you too come across in the world, are very heavily finished. It starts to look less like leather and more like paint or plastic, and I don't love it. That's why I love the look of the black Dublin. So if you look closely on this one, you can see all the bits of character in the leather, that very fine grain, as well as these little bits of striations in the leather that are unique. And I think that's what makes these extra specials. Just no two pieces are alike. We also have a hand-stained black edge on this wallet, and on the interior, this is what I like, the decision here that was made to choose thinner horsehide latigo on the interior. I mentioned I like a little bit of a thinner wallet, so choosing the black horsehides on the interior will keep the thickness down a significant amount, which I prefer. And again, I know a lot of people like the feel and the perception of quality of a thicker leather. For me, I like it thin. I just find it to be more easy to use, more easy to get cards in and out of, and I find it lays a little bit flatter in my pocket. We've got another Tony the Ant here. This is a total stunner also. English Tan Dublin on the outside, and that English Tan Dublin is a really nice orangey tan shade in the same way that the amaretto shell is a really nice orange tan. This is sitting on top of our brand new leather. This is the Royal Blue Cypress from Horween, and we had this developed for us. It's now appearing other places in the world, which is great to see. This is an extra dense, super durable leather that really absorbs scratches and scuffs. I've been wearing my Fat Herbie, and I'll pull it out of my pocket here to show you. This is the Royal Blue Cypress on my Fat Herbie that I've been wearing for 3 or 4 months now. I'm really enjoying the color of this leather. It's one of the only wallets I've ever worn, and I've worn a bunch, where I take this out to pay for something and people are kind of taken back by it. So I've gotten more compliments on this wallet than any other, even shell cordovan wallet that I've used before, and it's wearing in great. This will absorb scratches. Like I said, I threw this in a backpack when I was traveling recently, and it was next to some keys, scratched up the leather. But as I've worn it, those scratches have really filled in just naturally. So I haven't had to do anything to polish this back. Love the Cypress, super great, vibrant shade, but also very resilient. So we've got the blue Cypress underneath the English Tan here. And on the inside of the wallet, we've got alternating card slots. And these are the vertical orientation of these card slots. It's the same combination here where we have English Tan Dublin sitting on top of the new Royal Blue Cypress. And here's another one, same combination, but sort of inverted. So on this Capone Fox, we don't have an official name for this wallet style just yet, but we do have the new Royal Blue Cypress. This time it's sitting on top of the English tan Dublin for the exterior. And this wallet style is very similar to our Capone money clip, although there is no money clip on the inside. This was actually a design that Skip Horween came up with because he wanted to see what the Capone would look like with the bill slot. So that's exactly what we have here. We also have what we've been calling the skip stitch on the right. So you've got a little bit easier access to your cash on the outside of the wallet because it does open a little bit more completely. And I noticed when I was using my Capone, these exterior card slots are tremendously useful. It's very easy to get your credit cards out very quickly. So I like to put my 2 to 4 credit cards that I use most frequently, or ID or driver's license, those things most frequently, on the outside of the wallet. And as I look at this a little bit more closely, this might actually be Bison Dublin because I'm seeing a little bit of extra variation in the grain character. You don't tend to see this amount of character on the normal steer hide English tan Dublin. You see a little bit more of that on the Bison. So this might be Bison, and I'm 90% sure that it is. I could be totally wrong, but it's a really beautiful look with the blue cypress on the inside and on the outside, sort of alternating inverted colors here. Really like the look. And we're trying to release this wallet style as a standard offering within the next couple of months. Okay, next up is another hand-stitched wallet. This is a beautiful looking marbled blue shell cordovan piece on our Bugs Moran. We have that baby blue hand stitching, which turned out great, and it complements the marbling of the blue shell very, very nicely. If you look closely, you can see the depth of color in the marble shells. And I'll spin this around so you can see some of the range of color. And you'll notice at certain angles, more of these aqua blue, sort of bluish green shades come out, as well as some of these more orangey tan colors. That's the color of natural shell cordovan. And then we get this really nice gradient of color of all the shades in between. I think it's very, very beautiful. On this one, we've got a natural waxed and burnished edge. And this is also a thinner wallet, which I totally appreciate. This is our horsehide latigo again, but this time it's in the teal color, which looks great. So we've got that teal color stitching on the inside and the outside. Works really well on this Bugs. Up next, we've got our Vic Snap wallet. This is black shell cordovan inside and out. It's actually one continuous piece of black shell cordovan here. This wallet we originally designed as a coin pouch, so it snaps closed like this. We did elongate the coin pouch a little bit just to more easily accommodate cash and credit cards on the inside, so you can put coins, cash, and cards on this Vic Snap wallet. Next up, we've got another Derby deerskin. This is a really beautiful 3-shot card case, and I'm totally digging the Derby deer, and I'm glad that a lot of people are also appreciating this. We were noticing earlier in the shop just how nicely the edges finish up on this particular leather. There's something extra special about it. It's a little bit more dense, and I think for that reason it tends to polish up a little bit better and becomes more smooth and bright and shiny. Really beautiful look here. And then we've got that same tumble pattern that we looked at earlier on the passport holder. We're getting smaller in wallets. This is our Frank the Enforcer, one of our only wallet designs that does not fold. This Frank the Enforcer is made in one of my favorite shell cordovan colors. Again, amaretto shell cordovan. I'll spin this around because you can really see the vibrance change in the color at certain angles. And the reason that you're seeing that is there is a directionality to the fibers in the shell. They point one certain direction in the same way that a suede points in a certain direction when you mat it down. You might brush it one direction, it becomes light, brush it back the other way, it becomes a little bit more dark. The same thing's happening here on the shell cordovan, but at a much finer microscopic level. You can't really see those fibers, but you can certainly see the effect it has on the color. So amaretto shell cordovan on the front. We also have amaretto shell cordovan on the back, as well as the Horween shell cordovan logo hot stamped onto the back card slot. And one more Frank the Enforcer to look at here. This is another marbled shell cordovan piece. This time it's in marbled black shell cordovan, and the marbled black seems to have more of a greenish color to it, which is really funny. You would expect a black shade to have more black color to it, but the black dyes that Horween uses to stain the shell cordovan has a green tint to it. So once that layer of finish is scraped away, you're revealing a little bit more of these green tones, and I find it to be really, really nice. We also have black shell cordovan on the top card slots. This one has a waxed and burnished edge, and on the back side, we've got another piece of black shell, but it's the reverse side of the black shell cordovan here. Got a great sort of demarcation of color right through the center. So it's a little bit darker on the top and a little bit lighter on the bottom. This is actually really good to see because that's the natural range of color that we normally see on the reverse sides of black shell, but normally they're all one color or the other. So this one's really interesting. Normally you don't see them look like this. And the last piece of the day is not a wallet at all. It's a key fob. This is our older style key fob here that is stitched together. This is also made in the brown derby deerskin. We've started making a new key fob that's a little bit more simple of a design, but of course we can still make these older ones too. And it's really nice to see a piece of derby here. And this was actually the piece where I noticed how nicely the edges were done. So shout out to the team that's in the room here with me. Good job on the edges here, guys. Really nice, beautiful looking wallets. Absolutely made perfectly, of course. So if you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm going to bring this guy back. The 1940s calfskin. It's sad to say that we will run out of this leather eventually, but we do have some of it now. Every custom order that we do is a little bit more expensive just because it takes us a little bit more time to make a one of one as opposed to making a batch. So we do charge a 10% custom fee for wallets, but that does allow you to spec out basically everything you just saw here. We can add hidden cart slots, we can change up the leather, we can change up the stitching, we can change the edges for you. All that's no problem. And the way to do that, if you're looking to have something custom made, just send my brother Matt an email, and the email address is info@ashlandleather.com. He'll be able to set you up, maybe get you a tall Herbie here with some hidden cart slots. So thanks for checking out the video today. I really appreciate you guys. Hope you have a good one and take care.